Very excited to talk to this gentleman. His name is synonymous with Hollywood in many regards. And more importantly, he has taken the time out of his day for many, many years to highlight all the things we are looking for, men especially, in Hollywood and our actresses. So I want to thank and welcome Mr. Skin. Welcome today.
Yeah, thanks, Derek. Thanks for having me.
So let's talk about, I guess, the overall idea of nudity in Hollywood. And, we were talking a little bit before about how it's changed over the years since you started. So I guess can you explain to us how it's different and how maybe it's even a little bit the same?
Yeah, well, actually, television is really fascinating to me because I just celebrated the 21st anniversary of the launch of MrSkin.com. We launched in August of 1999. And when I launched the website, most of the content I would get for Mr. Skin would come from movies. There were only 19 television shows. Not all of them even had nudity. The others maybe had bikini or sexy stuff. There were 19 television shows in 1999 that had some sort of nudity or sex, right? In 2009, there were 26. A decent jump. By 2019, there were 149 shows across 36 platforms that had some sort of female nudity in it. And with the advent of Netflix, Amazon, Hulu, all these streaming services, they all are producing original television content. And it's gotten to the point, Derek, as you know, the best shows, the shows you love, are going to, and shows that are nominated for Emmys, for instance, probably are going to have nudity. It's not shocking anymore. And I'll tell you what, it's not just female nudity. When we did this survey in 2019, there were 144 shows with male nudity, which shocked people. I don't think people realize how much male nudity, especially guys, how much male nudity there is. So it's really like we're in the golden age of television nudity. And it's kind of cool. It's kind of cool.
Well, it's funny too. Sometimes when I see male nudity, it's almost like the director's like, I'm artistic and nude is nude, whichever way it goes. And so sometimes it feels like that. Sometimes it feels like it does lend to the story and the character, which I agree with, and that's great. But there are some times when you're like, I guess we're just looking at Tom Ellis's butt and Lucifer. All right, let's go, I guess.
Right. And a lot of people, you used to think, there used to be this thought that maybe television, if there was nudity in the show, it was kind of like, it wasn't something the critics are like, or if you were a real fan of television and highbrow TV, if there was nudity, how could it be taken seriously? But then, The Sopranos started in 99, and the bada bing, there was always things going on there. And these shows, like Game of Thrones is another great example that it's turned to where it's just so acceptable to have nudity, and really actresses have more platforms today than ever before to do nudity. That's why I say it's the golden age of celebrity nudity.
I actually remember back in the day, I think it was late 90s. There was such a big deal when Dennis Franz on NYPD Blue showed his butt on TV, and they were like, "Oh my gosh, the world's gonna end." And I'm like, first of all, that's not even a butt you want to look at for any reason whatsoever. So this is all content and character driven. So go ahead and have fun with that. But that's not any line we're really pushing along the way. So.
Yeah, it really is. We were going in a direction with NYPD Blue where on ABC television, we were starting, not Dennis Franz isn't the one that I want to talk about, but Charlotte Ross. Right. Charlotte Ross did a nude scene on that show in about 2003 that if you saw it today, you'd think you were watching an R-rated movie, and this aired on ABC. Then the Janet Jackson Super Bowl
of course
controversy, and boy, network television, you were done with nudity. Thank God all these new platforms came about, and now, like I said, it's more than we've ever had before.
Well, and that's the real difference now too, is the fact that we barely have, I feel, regular network TV anymore. Everything else now is more cable options, and network TV is scrambling to catch up. But
Yeah.
now we have other options with streaming where you can just click a button saying this is safe for kids or not safe for kids. And so a lot of directors and creators out there, I think, take that to heart, and they're just like, we're on Netflix now, we're on Hulu now, we can do whatever we want. Let's just go.
Yeah, no, it's great. And listen, I always say there's so much competition out there for eyeballs. Like, you hear from your friends about all these great shows, as do I. Sure, I'd love to watch every single show, but it's just not enough. You don't have enough bandwidth. You don't have enough time. But I always say, if there's two shows you have a chance of watching, one of which has incredible sex and nudity, that's still a very good show, and another very good show that doesn't, if I'm gonna, I'll probably lean towards the one with the sex and nudity, and I think a lot of people would.
Yeah, well, sex and nudity has never been my issue. My issue is if I'm flipping through the channels and I stop on a medical show by mistake, and what they show is way worse than anything we could see in any other realm. So I don't understand how they get through that stuff,
Yeah.
So that's one of the things that really blows my mind and makes me cringe a little bit as well too. But yeah, I mean the growth of Mr. Skin as well is insane. I mean, I remember we talked to you during radio days when I first started out, and you were kind of growing as well, and how all that kind of has changed and blossomed into just being a pillar that people automatically know to go to. I mean, you've been name checked in movies and TV and things like that too. So did you ever think that this thing you started would grow into becoming a brand and almost a category into itself?
Not at all. I remember I was working on the floor of the Chicago Mercantile Exchange in 1999 when I launched this, and I quit my job to sit in a studio apartment for 6 months to to get ready for my August 10th launch of the website. And the whole time I was doing it, it wasn't even about doing this for 21 years. It was about just having like a side gig or see if it can make a little money. I thought I'd have maybe at the time I had me and one tech guy. I mean, here we are 21 years later. I mean, my website's been in Knocked Up, Family Guy, Saturday Night Live. I have 40 people that work for me. We're doing better than ever. It's really incredible. I just never, in my wildest dreams, thought I'd be still doing this 21 years later. It's crazy.
Well, that's great. 40 people to make sure Mr. Skin is viable, updated, and relevant to all the people out there.
Listen, when I just started the interview telling you about all those shows, like, we have a team of just 10 people that have to go through all the movies and television shows to look so we could review the nude scenes in movies and television. And we have, a team of writers, a team of content people. Obviously, our tech team has to be top notch because we get traffic, millions of people a month come to our MrSkin.com from all over the world, and you need, a really good tech team to handle that. So it's a real company, believe it or not. I know a lot of my friends are like, what do you do all day? I mean, and but it's a real company. It's really a tech company when it comes down to it.
Oh yeah, and that's it. You're just delivering a product, a digital product online, and you have to make sure that it's ready and able for anyone who comes by.
Yeah, and listen, I think we wouldn't be here 21 years if we didn't do it the right way. I mean, we're not. We really celebrate nudity in film. We're not like, we don't say, oh, that actress is fat, she shouldn't have done a nude scene. Our policy is we celebrate all nude scenes. We never took cell phone pics from people's phones and put it up. It's always been what actresses willingly appear in. And we're really, the fact of the matter is we're reviewing and rating, how good the nude scene is as far as the quality of it, really. And and you don't do this for 21 years unless you make it fun and interesting and technically advanced, and make the people that come to your website's experience fun. There's no way. I mean, my website started before Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, all those websites. It's like we've been around since the very beginning. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, think about that. If you would have went, you know what? Maybe I don't go nudity. I'll just create something called Amazon instead. I'll do that one instead and see,
I wish
see
I
where
would
that
have
goes.
I wish I would have invested in some of those if I knew about it, but that's okay.
Mr. Skin would have accepted Bitcoin, right? That's what
Oh
you
God,
at the
yeah,
beginning.
yeah, yeah. You don't know how many people have asked me to invest in different Bitcoin deals.
I'm
Yeah,
sure. I'm
yeah,
sure.
yeah.
The one thing that I think that you'd be kind of singularly interesting to see your outtake on would be the rise in the world of deepfakes. I mean, you essentially put up things that actresses actually approve of, they work on, they want out in the world. But now we're moving into a world of deepfakes and all those things too. So
Yeah.
what's your main thought on those?
Well, I hate it. I mean, it started when I started this website, the big thing was body doubles. So there'd be a nude scene and I'd tell you listen, that's not the actress, that's a body double. And, the actress would not get credit for the nude scene, but we'd explain that. Then, things like, fake or real breasts was another thing or whatever. But then came Merkins, which was, if you don't know what that is, that's a pubic wig that a lot of actresses will wear, especially on these shows from a bygone era. But the next thing was, and the thing we're currently dealing with a lot is CGI. And CGI nudity is kind of the next frontier. But the thing you're talking about, deepfakes, that's where they have the technology now to take a famous person's face and edit it into, say, a porn scene or something else. And that's, obviously that's nothing we deal with, and I know it's out there, and obviously it's going to get better and better, the technology. One of the famous CGI moments was in Game of Thrones at the end of the 5th season when Lena Headey was doing that walk of shame through the kingdom completely nude. Right. A lot of people thought that was Lena Headey really doing that, but actually it was a 24-year-old model named Rebecca Van Cleve, and they put Lena Headey's head onto her body, which gives you an idea of where technology's gone, because that was 4 or 5 years ago, 6 years ago. So it's a different world now, but that's part of our experience in Mr. Skin. We want to make sure if it was a body double or if it was CGI or if it was a Merkin even. We'll even go to that extreme. So,
well, we're going to have to see how it moves forward, because I think some of these talent agencies now are even trying to sign digital models who are only a digital actress in a digital world. So if that happens, one day you're going to have to say, well, here's the actress you love, but it's 100% digital because she's always been digital,
Yeah,
so
it's a different world. It's a different world, definitely.
So let's talk about Emmy nominees and the top 10 hottest. That's what we're talking right now. Can you give us some ideas and some numbers and maybe some names as well?
Yeah, we had some fun, every year around Emmy time. And this year it's an Emmy Zoom hosted by Jimmy Kimmel. We always put a list together of actresses who this year are nominated for an Emmy. And then we put a list together of who we think did the best nude scenes. And we just posted it at the front page of MrSkin.com. You can't miss it. It's the Emmy nominees get nominude, and some of the actresses in there is because that's the thing, when actresses become famous like this, that's a natural reaction from guys usually is, have they ever done a nude scene? And that's what MrSkin.com is all about. Like, for instance, Julie Garner, who's nominated for Outstanding Supporting Actress in a show I love, Ozark. She's on there at number 10. She's did a brief nude scene in a movie called 1% More Humid, and another little one nude scene, but she's on the list, for instance. Jodie Comer, who is from Killing Eve, which is a pretty popular show from AMC. She's up for a lead actress nominee. She's on our list. She did the debut episode of a show called 13 back in 2016, where she's topless. And, that's one of those before they were famous type of nude scenes. One actress we love at Mr. Skin is Tandy Newton, who is nominated for Westworld, one of the great shows for nudity in the history of television on HBO. And she's on our list. And probably last, another one, and the whole list is there. You can check it out at the front page of our site. But to me, I made sure this was number one just because I'm such a fan of the show and such a fan of the actress, is Rachel Brosnahan, who's up for Outstanding Lead Actress in a Comedy Series for the great show, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. That's a show that my wife and I absolutely love. And I don't know if a lot of people saw the pilot episode, not the first episode of the season, but the pilot episode. Rachel Brosnahan was up on stage doing her stand-up comedy and pulled her top down and showed her breasts. And we just thought that was the greatest nude scene of these Emmy nominees for this year. So we put that at number one, but a lot of it had to do also because I'm a big fan of the Marvelous Mrs. Maisel show.
It's a great show. I will agree to that too. I still laugh too when I think about the fact that, a lot of these great nude scenes when it comes to art come from like home box office, HBO, which was a standing point for years. And of course you have Cinemax/Sex, and then some other shows like Stars, like that. They've kind of gained their ways a whole world, but at the same time the internet's been busting the door trying to like create its own thing, and streaming services too. So it's very interesting when it comes to
even HBO Max now is doing a streaming service, and they have a ton of new shows that I know a lot of people are loving. Lovecraft Country is one. And those shows now are loaded with nude scenes. So it never ends, Derek. Someone's got to review all this stuff. So,
well, and that's why you have the 40 people doing hard labor, trying to figure out, what's best and what people can look forward to. And I'm sure there's someone out there just looking at search histories of what people have searched for, going, did that person do it? Or why are they even requesting that person?
Yeah.
No, Betty White did not do anything. Let that go.
I always get asked about Betty White. She's never been nude, but she was a nude model on a deck.
I don't want her to be.
She was a nude model on a deck of playing cards in the 1950s. So if you want me to send those to you, I do own those.
You actually own the cards?
Not the cards. I own pictures of the cards. I do have that. So.
No, I'm okay. I choose to believe in Betty White and the way she is. I think she's perfect, and I think that I don't necessarily need to see that, because she's kind of been, from Golden Girls on, has kind of been a grandmother to me, and
yeah,
unfortunately, grandmother thing is not my bag, nope, baby. I guess that's the way to go with that. So
I got you. I get it.
Well, what else can we look forward to going forward from Mr. Skin? I mean, I know you're always keeping busy.
Oh yeah, it's we're going to be, it's, believe it or not, we're already starting to put together our top 10 nude scenes of 2020, and it's been such a crazy year, as you can imagine. But even though there hasn't been as much content out because of COVID and not being able to film, there's still been an amazing amount of nude scenes and stuff that came out. We're never at a shortage for a top 10 nude scene, so we're already kind of plotting that out, and we'll be releasing that towards the end of the year. So that's kind of our next big thing.
So you're going to, even though all the movies haven't come out, you're going to stay with, you're not going to do the Oscars thing where you're going to push it back, go, now January to April of 2021 is going to be our 2020.
Well, we'll do we do a thing called the Anatomy Awards every year, and I'm going to be doing my 21st annual Anatomy Awards this year. We always do it the week of the Oscars. So whatever week the Oscars happen is when our Anatomy Awards will happen. So we'll follow their lead. Yes.
Well, we look forward to that, and of course, all the fun stuff you guys put out, as well as I assume there's at least 5 different people who are furiously trying to create names and double entendres and metaphors for all the different titles you use out there. I mean, there's every day there's got to be one. What about this? I can imagine a writer's room with just getting titles. That's probably what it is.
Well, that was one of my things early on. Is this has to be fun, and you have to make people laugh while they're enjoying the nude scenes. If it becomes too academic, people won't enjoy it. So we try to make it a combination of fun and titillating, no pun intended. So
right. Well, and that's funny too. The amount of adjectives and metaphors you guys need to create just for your opening weekly updates and things like that for every character is probably there's probably a list on a wall somewhere written that just has to, okay, well, she's a wrestler, so we should do this one, or some kind of connection or something like that too.
Yes,
So like
yes.
Betty Gilpin or something like that, you know.
Yes,
So
very good, very good.
yeah. So well, it was fantastic talking with you, and of course, all the fans out there know who Mr. Skin is, and so they'll get a chance to kind of check out more. But the top 10 Emmys is going to be very interesting, and we'll have to actually see how the Zoom Emmys work out as well. I think your Emmys rundown will probably be a little cleaner than theirs is probably going to be, but we'll figure it out. I think one way or the other. So I want to thank you again, and hopefully talk to you again very soon.
Well, thanks so much, Derek. Thanks for having me, man.